Hare Krishna. My name is Yaduraj. Previously, my name used to be Santiago Guillen. That's the name that my parents gave me when I was born. Now, so speaking on how I joined Krishna consciousness, well, now at this point of my life, I could say that I had the great fortune to have parents that they took the decision to join Krishna consciousness, and I happened to be very small at that time. I was 1 year old when my father became a devotee, my mother. So then my father, he, on a point of his life when he was a young man, he had a very a strong need, not a desire or not an inclination, but a need of finding a solution for the problems he was having in his life. He was having many problems, and he was very, with great intensity, he was looking for a solution, for an answer to the problems of life. He was very unhappy. He wasn't satisfied with the way how people live, with the values that people have nowadays, just working for money, working for sense gratification, men all womanizers, and women themselves just worries only about engaging in frivolous activities and a lot of cheating. So my father, he was traveling. He traveled to many places. He went through many situations, different circumstances. He tried different processes of religious life. In the beginning, he was a Christian, very serious Christian. He was a very serious Christian. Maybe no, he wasn't following the Catholic Church, but he himself, he did his personal study on the Bible. He took the Bible and he himself studied the Bible, and was practicing the Bible for many years. And through that, he gained great realization. At one point, he saw that just by following, Jesus Christ's instructions seriously, sincerely, and genuinely, how he's actually given them, then he came to the point that he needed to, when we know that God is there and that He's a person, then you want to get deep into that relationship, then you need deep knowledge about God. Just to know God is there and He is great, that's not enough. If you want to have personal relationship with that, just as the relationship that human beings have among themselves, they're very personal. They interact, they talk, with each other, they serve each other like that. So it's a intimate relationship. It's a personal relationship. So in the same way, then my father had a need after practicing Christianism very seriously. He needed to get into depth, and like that, by, we can say now, by God's arrangements, then he came in contact with the devotees from the Krishna consciousness movement. And then the first experience of my father was, he was telling me that when he was invited to come to the temple, and he went inside the temple room, and he saw there was a person sitting on the chair, person who was giving the lecture, and he sat there, and his first experience was very, he felt very comfortable, and he felt very warm, and that when he had many questions in his life, and then when he started asking these questions, the person who was sitting, giving the lecture, he was able to actually give an answer to all his inquiries in a very satisfying manner. Was very satisfied, and from that point, then my father kept in touch with the Hare Krishnas, and he slowly he came more. The relationship became more close, and then eventually he joined the temple. He joined the ashram, the place where the devotees of Lord Krishna, they come and they perform their devotional disciplines, and like that. So I happened to be, at that time, 1 year. So I joined with my mother and my father at that time, and personally I can say now that after having gone through, right now I am 28 years old, and I went through my teenage. I went to public school, so I was exposed to see different types of people with different religious disciplines, and after observing their lives and observing the quality of their happiness, the quality of their character, how they interact with each other, how sincere are they in their devotional practice. And after having seen the devotees also from the Krishna consciousness movement, then I come to a conclusion that the devotees, that the practitioners of Krishna consciousness are very deep and very serious in their practices. And from that, we can say that when someone takes something up very seriously, it means that they're gaining something very strong out of what they're practicing. So you see, the devotees are very happy. They have a very refined personality, very good qualities. So that's just seen others. And my personal experience is that this satisfaction that one gains by having even as like a single fraction, there's a significant fraction of experiencing the personality of Godhead within your heart, as a person, not just as a God, but as a person who has a name, who has qualities, and therefore who can at all times, present circumstances, can interact with you. Then that the experience that comes from that the happiness that comes from that experience is so great that nothing can be equal to that. So therefore, and it's so strong that you don't need anything else. You don't need to engage yourself in frivolous activities. You don't need to run after, as men, run after women. You don't need to run after intoxication. You don't need to do great arrangements for securing your bank account. There is no need for that, because there is a deep feeling that I am depending on God. That God is going to take care of. He's going to take care of me, and that we have a relationship, eternal relationship based on love. So therefore, the satisfaction that comes from that is nothing can equal to that. And therefore, that it fills the heart so much that there is no really need to search for anything else. It's very complete. Even taking the philosophies from other religious movements, we have the Islamic movement, the Christians, and so many more. Then they all the basic principle of their religious practice, or the goal of the religious practice, if you ask them, is always love for God. They always, it doesn't come on point in all religious movements. We want to develop, a loving relationship with God. That's what they all say. But then it comes to a point in which, if you want to develop a relationship with God, okay, how serious you want to develop a relationship with God? How is God? What's His name? What does He do? He's a person. So if He's a person, then He must have a name, and then He must have a relationship with us, eternal, because we come from Him. Everything comes from Him. So what is the nature of that relationship? So that is all, that all has to be for a sincere, seeker of God. At one point, these questions will come in his mind, and there have to be, clear answers for these things. Otherwise, there's going to be insatisfaction, and there is a little chance that there will be success in the spiritual pursuit. So what I can say for all is that, for all of you who are serious about searching for the actual need of your soul, and for you who are searching after ultimate answer to the fundamental questions of life, and you must very sincerely look to answers into your own scriptures. And if you don't, then be sincere, so God can make an arrangement for you. You can make, further progress. Hare Krishna.